What's going on, guys? Ryan with Jedha Patrol back. Another video. Today, we're going to take a look at 10 poses that you could use in your collection for your clone troopers. I guess you could use it stormtroopers or clone troopers, any trooper kind of deal, but we're specifically going to do clones. As you guys know, I am no stranger to army building, and today we have a special sponsor specifically for those who like to use their armies in battle. We all love posing our figures, but sometimes we need a break from that. And Raid Shadow Legends is the huge hit among mobile games, but it's also available on PC as well, so you don't have to limit yourself. You've got multiple options on the way you play this game. You can play it casually, enjoy the high quality graphics, or take a deep dive in and compete with the other players on the PvP arena. In Raid, you also have more than 700 unique champions to use and a lot of different strategies, which will help you to complete endless challenges the game can offer, including bosses, dungeons, Doom Tower, and even more. The game also has great lore which you already can explore through Raid Call of the Arbiter. It is an awesome new limited series which tells you more about the characters and their background. Raid's adding some of the new characters from the series as champions you can play with in the game. The first one is Artak, a mighty orc warlord. What's super cool is that Artak is going to be available to everyone for free. All you have to do is just log into Raid for 7 days between now and July 24th. If you've seen episode 1 of Call of the Arbiter, you'll definitely want this guy. And if you haven't seen it yet, what are you waiting for? Go check it out and remember to log in for 7 days to get Artak. With all the exciting stuff and more coming to Raid, if you haven't started playing yet, then what are you waiting for? New players, use my link or scan the QR code right here and get a free starter pack with this cool in-game loot. Each accomplished tutorial helps me to bring more content just like this for you. All right, here we go. So we're going to kick this off with something simple. Phase 2 helmet, calling in some comms there, hitting some buttons on his forearm. And just something super simple. Now, obviously, we're going to get more dynamic. We're going to get more creative as we go along, but it's always good to start off with something simple. So pose 1 is going to be him. Feet spread slightly apart, just enough to balance, so nothing crazy going on there. Plenty of range of motion in the shoulders, and him looking down on that little button thing going on there. And it's simple. Like, keep it simple. That's it. All your displays don't need to be crazy. Sometimes something like this will work, as you see at the end when we put them all together. Moving on to the next one, we've got a dual-wielding clone trooper right here. We've got his rifle in one hand, and he's actually got his long rifle in the other. This is just the relaxed hand, if you guys can tell that, and it's just wide enough to grip onto that rifle stock there, or the barrel, and it looks pretty freaking good. So this is our pose number 2. Again, extended out shoulders. You got to rotate around, going to go up. You do want to bend in the elbow on both. Don't want them straight. And you got to kind of lean forward and his head tilted looking down the sights of this particular blaster rifle. And if we back it up a little bit, you can kind of see what we're going for. He's shooting at some droids. He's got his rifle at the ready. And absolutely heroic pose. Does take up a little bit of space. Just due to the length of the clone rifles. You can see right there, it just takes up a little bit of space. But when you get it nailed, a little bit of bend on the front knee. Most of the weight's going to be kind of leaning forward. But when you get it nailed, it looks freaking cool. Really happy with this one. Can't wait to see the other ones we're going to bring up. From time to time, I do break out the display stands when necessary, and in this pose, it's definitely going to be necessary because of the balance issue going on here. So I've got our clone trooper running. I've got a decent amount of torso twist, as we'll see. It kind of spins around here a little bit. The back leg is bent, and his toe is just barely touching that display base. I'm obviously using the little waist grabber there. I can't remember this. This is from the clone trooper. Hell, I don't know what base this is from something. But he's looking down the barrel, got a nice double bend on the right elbow, and it just looks really stinking cool. I decided to put a backpack on him there so you can make him a little different from the other clones we've got in this display setup we're building. And at the end, we're going to be putting these all together in a display. You might have told from the thumbnail, but it's going to be fun to do. So we got foot flat there on the ground and torso twist going on. And if you see this hand, I've got this wrist peg tilted down. And it just looks stinking cool. Now, he absolutely would not balance without this display stand. So this is kind of necessary. I suppose you could use the crotch grabber stand if you wanted to. It probably would work. This is going to work a little better because if you haven't noticed already, as this guy rotates around, I've got one more clamp sitting right there waiting on another trooper. We're going to have 2 troopers on one display stand here in just a second. And just like that, we've added a second trooper to this display stand. I love doing this. I love leaving like dual clamps on one stand. Look at this guy. He's kind of jumping over our other buddy there and going into action. All these guys are going into battle. You'll see at the end. But here we go. We've got the waist grabber there on the waist of this guy. We've got this rifle kind of coming behind him because he's jumping forward. He's lunging forward. And one of the things I see most often is not having the front shoulder the opposite of the leg. All right, you want to have that. Whether you're running or not, or doing any kind of movement, if you just walk yourself, you'll notice it. You don't swing your arms and legs in the same parallel motion. They're alternating. So poses most of the time that I see look weird are due to the fact that people miss that step. All right, this would look completely ridiculous if his torso and legs were going in the same direction. It just wouldn't work. But since we've alternated that, and we've got this blaster kind of coming behind him, and he's lunging forward, I think it looks cool. Now, the other thing I really like about this particular pose, this setup, is it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. It's two figures. It's more vertical space than horizontal space. And the fact that he's like jumping over his brother to get to the battle, I think looks pretty cool. So if you want to introduce some battle droids into your display, this is a great way to do it. I've got Captain Vaughn here, looking all kinds of awesome with his sweet armored paint job. And I am using the display base because he needs it for balance purposes. And I didn't want him to fall over. But here we go. I've got him literally choking a battle droid, looking all kinds of cool. So I'm pretty happy with this one. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room. I've got his blaster rifle down on one hand. I've got him looking up. I don't think I need the display stand. I think I just put it up there for the shelf so it wouldn't fall over. And I don't know if you can hear the goats in the background, but they are going crazy right now. But yeah, you can do this with pretty much any clone. You just need a relaxed hand on that hand. And then obviously you can do whatever you want with the other one. I like having a rifle blaster in the other hand because it shows he's in combat. I've got his right leg behind him, left leg front, torso twist, as you can see, alternating the front leg, the left leg and the front right shoulder. Also looks pretty stinking cool, I think. But you could do this with all kinds of different. You could have him battling multiple battle droids. But if you got one, this is a pretty good way to do it. Now, jetpack here is a little crooked, but that's on purpose because I've got this long rifle and I'm using it to balance. So sometimes you got to cheat a little bit. Here's our 501st Clone Trooper Phase 2 helmet guy with a long rifle there. I've got a droid popper in that hand, wide stance on the feet, and he's just looking down. He's getting ready to go into battle, and he's getting ready to go take care of some droids. I think this is a pretty cool display. You can do this with a backpack. Let's see if you've got just a regular clone like we've been looking at. You can do that with just a regular backpack. The jetpack helps a little bit just because of the balance of that rifle there. But I think it's a pretty cool looking display. Looks like he's ready to go. If you've only got a few clone troopers, it's cool to have them looking like they're like ready for battle. If you're not going to do super dynamic stuff, have them running, jumping, doing all that kind of fun stuff. But relaxed hand right here on the right hand. Obviously, the droid popper hand on the left, and he's looking down. I think that's a pretty cool look. Admittedly, this one takes a little bit of time to make happen. I'm not gonna lie. This one's a little bit of a challenge, but we'll kind of work through here. We're gonna have two figures, obviously, going on. The first thing you want to do with this pose is nail down the guy laying down. If you get this worked out, the rest of it's relatively easy. I like having one leg under the other, one leg stretched out, and then I'm using this arm to balance them. I wanted the backpack on there because I wanted his friend here, his brother, to be grabbing his backpack, almost dragging him out of battle. And balancing this is definitely a challenge. It's a thing. Now, I've had this guy with a rifle blaster in his hand, but honestly, I think having the gesturing hands where he's telling his other brothers where to go fight, I think that works. And usually I will have a bend going on in the elbows, but on this one, I've got his left arm pretty straight as he's kind of using all his force to kind of pick up his brother there. Extended left leg, straight rear leg on the back there, implying a lot of motion going on. And of course, you know, this guy is not going to just lay down. He's going to be shooting as he's being dragged off the battlefield. I think this is a sweet, sweet display setup. You guys can let me know what you think in the comment section. But this one right here is just an all-time favorite of mine. I've used it a couple different ways, but I kind of am preferring this one. You could throw a rifle in his hand, but I don't think he really needs it. The one issue you would have is I would like his head, the fallen comrade, to be looking down a little bit, but the limitations of the actual helmet, unfortunately, he's not CGI. He's actual, plastic. So you kind of run into fights with that. Outside of that, getting this guy's hand here to actually hold onto that strap, that's a challenge because he gets wanting to fall over. But I think this is a great way to display a couple clone troopers if you got them. And here we go, guys, the final pose. And I got to admit, I use 2 figures in a lot of these poses because I just like to. But here we go. We got a clone pilot rescuing our clone trooper from the battlefield. Now, you definitely need a display stand for this because of the weight of the trooper is incredibly hard to balance. This is a tricky one. This takes a minute, guys. So just keep in mind, I've got our clone pilot here, and you can use any clone trooper, honestly. Pistol blaster going that way. I've got his left arm wrapped around, just a regular relaxed hand going on there. And on the feet, I do have his right foot way back. Like way, way, way back with his front leg. So sometimes from angles it looks a little strange because you don't know he's actually walking, but there actually is some motion implied in this pose. Our other clone trooper, he's pretty much out of it. So you will need to use his left leg bent to wrap around and the left elbow and left leg, those two work together in conjunction for balance. The other leg can just kind of hang as best as you can with a 6-scale figure. I would like the head to be drooped down a little bit more and the right arm to be drooped down a little bit more, but I'm actually using, as it rotates around here, one more point of contact so you can have balance so this guy doesn't fall over. I'm actually using this wide open hand. Let's see if we can get it going here. And the thumb is actually resting on the clone pilot's armor. Yeah, right there. That's actually a balance point. So I had him fall over a number of times. It was an absolute journey to get this to work. I've done this with Sideshow figures in the past, never with a Hot Toys figure. The Sideshow ones are just incredibly loose and you can nimble and do whatever you want because they're going to fall over anyways. The Hot Toys one, the bodies are better, but it does make things a little bit more difficult if you're trying to pull off a pose like this. But I think this is just, as Jack Black would say, the bee's knees. I think that's freaking awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can use these poses with any of your clone troopers. It doesn't matter which version of the clone trooper you got. I think they're a lot of fun. Obviously, I like my clones, but I think we got one more thing to do. I think we should put them all together, see what they look like posed up in just one massive army. And here's the final display, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this thing. It's a lot of fun to do this. It takes a lot of time, so I'd very much appreciate it. If you haven't already subscribed, do that. If you haven't hit the like button, do that. And if you haven't commented, let me know which was your favorite pose. Are you going to be stealing any of these? Adapting, changing, tweaking, fixing, whatever you want to call it. This one right here is one of my favorites with the dual guys on one stand. That thing's just super sick. We've got this guy over here looking amazing. We've got Captain Vaughn in the background looking amazing. I mean, all these guys. This guy dropped his strap again. That's been one of the struggles with that particular pose. But overall, this is why we army build, so we can do cool stuff just like this. Obviously, it's going to take up a lot of room, and you may not have this many clones. And if I tried to put all of my clones in one display, it would be quite a challenge. But maybe you can steal 1 or 2 of these. Maybe if you've got one, you can pick a favorite and go with that or change them out over time. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's a lot of fun. And if you haven't already subscribed, like I said, do that. As always, click what you like. See you next time.